Hello. Just gonna plan my route so no one can see me talking. You know what's great about blundering your pieces in like the first 10 in the opening, first 10 moves? You could say, hey, there's no good side to that. Oh, but there is. The good side is, well, first off, you're now, pressure's off. Now you can just play. And that's what I'm talking about. If you blunder a piece, then all you can do is attack. If you want to win, you got to go all out. So that's what I got to do. As I blundered, let me just show you. There's E4. That's not me. I don't have no shock this time. I'm not going to surprise you with E4, not yet. E4, I'm black, so I go C5. At least I don't do the pierce this time. I do Sicilian. C5 after E4. That's the Sicilian. And then he goes knight F3 for move 2. And I go knight C6. And he goes bishop C4 for move 3. And I go E6. What am I doing here? C5, knight C6, and E6. What? Let me try to visualize this. Oh, C6. Oh yeah, coming in behind the pawn. And then E6. What's E6 doing? Oh yeah, because every move has a reason, right? So bishop C4, I can't help but blunt that diagonal. If someone goes there, I'm blocking. I'm going E6. I don't want him to have a good view. So I blunt it. And he goes knight C3 for turn 4. And I go A6. That's because he's got bishop C3, bishop on C3, and a knight on C4. I can just sort of create this barrier with E6 and A6. They got nowhere to go. And he castles on move 5. And I go B5. Just a move with tempo. It's a free pawn push. And he has to move his bishop. And the only place where I won't get pushed a second time or trapped is E7. So in turn 6, he goes bishop E7. I go knight H6. I'd like to explain that move. I could try. I'm going to say that it was a bad move. But I had some ideas of pushing the F pawn or just doing something fancy and getting myself up there a bit more. But it wasn't a good move. I'll just say. I guess the computer won't like it. And so turn 7, he goes D4. Immediately that knight is in trouble, right? From the bishop. But and my pawn is under attack, my C pawn, so I gotta go C takes D4, and he goes knight takes D4. And I go bishop B7. It's getting complicated already. There wasn't a lot of options I could have taken with the knight. But instead I choose to protect it and get my light squared bishop on the right diagonal. That long, good fianchettoed bishop. Man, what a powerful bishop he turns out to be as well. So he goes on turn 9, he goes knight takes C6. And my bishop takes, as planned, takes back, bishop takes C6. And then on turn 10, he goes bishop D2. And I go bishop D6. Does anybody see something wrong with bishop D6? Who thinks that that was a good move? Oh, it's turn 10. It is exactly a turn 10. That is a blunder, my friends. Just look at this. Turn 11. Bishop takes H6. I can't take back and defend my bishop on D6 at the same time. And I thought about that square too. I was like, man, this is a great square, especially after he blocked his view as the queen. I thought of a couple things. I didn't think deeply enough about the fact that it was loose, and the fact that if the piece moves while taking a piece, then I don't have time to get it out of the way. So troubles right out the gate. So now I'm like, okay, how do I make the best of this scenario? At least that's what I'm getting good at, is making the best of the dumb things that I do. Oh, it's just a moth. Okay, I won't kill that. But if it was a mosquito, I'd have to pause the whole thing to kill it. Okay, so yeah, so what do I do now? How do I optimize? He goes bishop takes H6. Do I just take back and let him take my bishop on D6? Or do I move my bishop on D6 or protect it and then not get to take back that stupidly placed knight that was on H6? Do I revenge him or not? What the heck do I do? Well, it's time to go all out. I'm down a piece. What are we going to do? Can't do both. So I go, and you can tell I'm proud of this. Look at this build up. Oh my goodness. On turn 11, he went bishop takes H6, and I go bishop takes H2 check. What? Sacrificing the bishop, which was already under attack, so it's hard, you can hardly call it a sacrifice. It's double jeopardy at that time, right? Let him go kill someone. And then, so king takes H2, wait. Why did I write a check beside that? Oh, I hate making mistakes in my writing. Bishop takes H2 check, and he goes king takes H2 check. It's not a check, but that's what I wrote. But I go queen H4 check. And look at that. Wow, look at that counter-offensive move. And he has to go back. King G1, it's the only move, I think. And then how do I take that bishop? I take it with the pawn. Why not? Open the file. There's no time to lose here. I'm down. And I need to create some lines. Open lines towards his king. So I go G takes H6. Oh my goodness. And he goes queen D6. And I go rook G8. And he goes queen H2. Is that right? Queen H2? Isn't there a pawn on H2? Did I eventually... Oh, no, sorry, I got the board flipped in my mind. Yeah, okay, yeah, so queen H2, he goes up and protects something over there, I imagine. Yeah, oh, the pressure. Watch all the pressure that comes down on this poor white king. And I go queen F6. And, oh, yeah, he was looking to trade queens. And I say, no. I need to keep whatever I have left of my attacking forces alive. So I go queen F6, protecting the pawn on H6. Leaving the open line for my rook. And it was less attackable than going G5. So I went F6. So he goes bishop D3. and I go king e7. Oh, look at this. Look at the... So I went king e7. I had options. And probably king a7 was bad or premature or something. It was probably bad. Certainly, I had to do some finagling with my poor king. So I went king e7 because of whatever threat I can't picture right now of bishop d3. And then so after I go to king e7, connecting my rooks, getting ready to go down that g file, turn 17, he goes e5. Brave boy, my goodness. Opening up the view for my light squared bishop. Attacking my queen, yes. Right, my queen's on f6, yeah. So I gotta move. Queen f3. Protecting the pawns down there. Wait. Oh, yeah, no. Queen f3 is up in the direction. And look at f3. It looks like I'm going to lose it to a pawn, but the pawn is pinned because of the rook on g8. Yes, what a cool move. And keeping, I didn't want him too far out of the action. I've got a lot of important squares covered with that queen up there. He goes g3 because he has to break the attack on g2. That rook and the bishop and the queen all coming down. Now his queen is the only thing saving it from a straight mate. That queen being over there. I can't send my queen in yet. No, sir. So queen so I go rook g5. Getting ready to slide him over one way or the other. Attack the queen, or add an attacker to something else, that pawn maybe or something, and making room to double up the rooks. So that was rook g5 on turn 18. So turn 19 he goes bishop e2, and that is a great move. That bishop is a thorn in my side all the time. And I go queen f5. It's hard for me to remember that particular position, so I'll just continue. Queen takes h6. Oh yeah, he takes one of my pawns. And I take queen takes e5 in retribution. Oh, because dangerous things happening with his queen coming down. So, get one of his attackers off the board while I can, and keep it rolling. So he goes queen on turn 21. He goes queen h4, sliding back up a little bit. And I go king d6. Oh yeah, I was worried about him forcing a trade of queens. So I start marching I go up with it because I didn't want to stop the view of my bishop coming down. Oh, sorry, it's so blurry on the camera. What's up with that? Anyway, I can't fix it now. No. So queen h4 is something that happened, and then I went king d6. And oh yeah, so rook a d1, there should be a check there because it's a check. And I saw that coming. I at the cost of him activating one of his rooks, I went up to not block my own rooks, because my attack just needs to be faster than his. It's no questions asked. I'm down a piece. I can't get it in the way of my own pieces. That's why I did that. So anyway, I go king c7. No, he's safe. He's out of the way. He goes rook d4, which is a very good move. That rook is big thorn. And I go queen g7 because of all the stuff. Like if he did all these things, then things would happen, and I didn't like those kinds of things. So I go queen g7, protecting pawn down there, making the battery with the rook, and he goes rook g4. He wants these trades. He wants to initiate trades. But here's how this is a good move. I think that this is a good move. I could have gone rook g6, I think. Yeah. To be protected by two pawns and one could go up, but I was worried about his light square. I was worried about playing on the light squares. So in the end, I decided it was better to protect the rook and not just jump in and take those trades. I go h6, because if he takes the rook now, I take back with the pawn, threatening his queen. He's got to do something with the queen, and then I get to bring my rook over, my backup rook. So for a long think, he eventually goes rook d1. Just whatever, leave it for now. He gets activate another piece, relieve some of the pressure around the king. And I go f5. I force him to make a decision on this, what's going on. So he does not go down and trade and open up my h file. He goes rook b4. Very reasonable. And I go rook h8, because now I'm realizing I could just march that pawn. That queen can't stay there forever. I'm going to march that pawn, and nothing's going to stop that pawn from going all the way. So at first I was very hesitant. For a long time I didn't know if I was going to put that rook on g8, creating that triple, Alekhein's gun or whatever, or backing up the h-pawn. So anyway, I went rook h8 because of that, because of the pawn push potential. And queen d4. He's getting the queen out of the way. He's creating a threat on my queen. He's threatening to check my king in two different ways. Trades are happening. If I move my queen, he eats my rook down there. Wow. What a position. Look how lively this game is. Holy smithereens. Look at this. And queen d4. So what do I do? What do I do? What did he neglect? What happened? Rook takes g3 check. I sacrificed the rook. Because if he accepts it, man, that smudge is real. Look at that. Because if he accepts it with the pawn, then I get to come in with the queen. And after pawn takes g3, queen takes g3, he has to go to f1. And then I bring in the light squared bishop to g2. And then he has to go to g1. And then I can go h3, bishop h3, mate. Is that mate? Oh no, then he goes to h1, and then I go queen g2, mate. That's right. But that didn't happen. He goes king h2. And I started to get a bit nervous. I mean, I was nervous the whole time. It was down a whole minor piece. But I was nervous that this attack wasn't going to work, and then his was going to work. But is there a way to do it? Is there a possible way after king h2? What can you do? Well, getting my rook out of danger with a check was very reasonable to think. I thought for a while. I thought, and I couldn't see what it was. But I figured rook g2 check makes the king come even more forward. Man, such a vulnerable king now. King h3 on turn 29. What do I do now? Oh, the problems. What do I do? sacrifice the rook. Thank goodness for these puzzles. I'm sorry if I'm shouting. Thank goodness for the thousands of puzzles. All the tactics training. For me to see. It took me a while to find it, but once I saw it, I was like, wow, thank goodness. Rook takes no taking. Rook h2, check. His only move is to take it. King takes h2, queen g2, mate. It was the only way to pull him to the spot where I could throw in the mate. And that's it. I checkmated a fellow. My goodness. What a game. That's why you blunder your pieces. This is, I could almost call it a gambit because of, well, maybe sacrificing the bishop on h2. You could call that a gambit. Well, I don't know, because I had to, it was the double jeopardy thing, you know, I had to do something. So I figure, okay, I'll get a pawn out of it and create some weaknesses around his king. And I managed to play that out and win. I can't believe it. Only very luckily. I'm sure the computer says I'm lost the whole time. Probably defendable and trade piece offable up until he moved the queen away, and then there was no more backup for those pieces. Up until that last move, I'm sure he was winning. Once he went queen, once he tried to make his counter offensive, get his pieces out of the way. Once he went queen d4, yeah, on turn 27. Let's see what the computer says. I think that was the turning point. All right, good times. I won a game. Thank goodness. I mean, not that it matters, but man, it sure matters. Not that it matters, but it's nice. It's nice to win sometimes. Okay, that's the sign. Time to go. See you next Thursday. I'm going to put this one up right now, I think. Imagine that. I'm going to be up to date with these things. Watch that. Watch this happen. I'm all caught up. I cannot let it get 10 behind again. That was too much. Okay, anyway. Thanks. See you later. Okay, bye.